Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to continue with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Megazord build from Fanhome. In the last video we started the Saber-Tooth Tiger, and now we are starting the Mastodon head. We have issues 12 through to issue 17, which we are going to work on. I showed off the parts in the last video, so I don't think there's much more to add beyond jumping right into this. So let's go. And here we have issue 12 for assembly. We have our instructions. This is the Mastodon head part 1. Again, carefully open the packaging, and we have our head. So in this we get the dinosaur's face, top of the head, right and left eye internal supports, head plate, badge holder, which should be that piece. It's shown as black in the instructions, but I believe it's that one. Transparent screen, left and right eye, and the electronic circuit board. Okay, so initially we want to get the head plate, which is made of an ABS plastic. So far the only bit which has been metal has been the pterodactyl and the Megazord headpiece. I'm hoping that there is more to this, which is going to be made of the metal. A little disappointed that not more of this isn't metal, but that might have something to do with weight issues maybe and its assembly. I guess we'll see. Screws, tiny screws, one of them stuck. Okay, so initially we take our headpiece and the top of the head, and these should press together. Yep. Okay, so that just presses together, and then we've got some screws to hold it all into place, one of which is a very, very awkward position. All the screws the same size. Yes, all the screws are the same size with this part of the build, which is good. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get this one in there. Let's have a try. Not quite sure how we are. I misread it, I apologise. We only need the 2 screws. It's because the port does appear to be a screw hole, but yeah, it's what you get for not looking at the instructions properly. Nonetheless, this is still a fiddly piece due to the awkward position of the bit, but that can't be helped. That puts in properly. Again, you want to make sure you're pressing tight on this just so that when the screw goes in, it doesn't push the other part of the plate away, and that it creates a firm and tight seal, because you don't want this wobbling or loose parts when it's all assembled, and some of these screws you won't be able to get to afterwards. So that. The Mastodon head plate assembled. Now we need to get the back plate and okay, so these will clip together in theory. That clips in like that. Then this should just slide onto here. That will clip into place. There was a nice firm click there, and then there is another screw port at the back to keep this in place. Which is going to be what I think. So there's two screw points, this one and this one. The screw fitting the cymbal goes in the topper big one. The smaller one's used for the next stage of the assembly, which is going to be our electronics. Two more screws. Remember to be extra careful when dealing with the electronics. You don't want to break off any of the circuitry on the boards, as that will impair the electronics functions later on. So this will fit in here. Right, remember to make sure this is up the right way, and the instructions aren't clear on this bit, which is a little annoying. Yeah, the instructions aren't clear, but if you look at the instructions on the final page, the clear transparent part will go with the red bit at the bottom. I think it's not completely clear, but I do think the screw ports are different size to accommodate. Yeah, it's firm fit, but yeah, I think there's a slight width on the plastic of the screw ports to allow for the plate to fit in only one direction, which does help. That will look like that. And then get our LED board, and this is going with the circuit clip at the top. This will sit on the two screw ports and then just be screwed in. It's not completely screwed in, but I want to align the other one first so I can finish them both off. Yeah. As always, a firm press to make sure this is going all the way in and nothing's becoming loose. You don't want things rattling about when this is all sealed up. But again, you want to be careful not to rip or thread the screw heads. So once you start getting the resistance cease, all nicely fitted. Yep, that's nicely fitted. So we now have the LED fitted in, which is clear point here. And then we are now looking at fitting the eyepieces. So we're going to fit the left eye, which is going to be this side. So it's based on the way you are facing rather than it facing you. Left eyepiece. You can see the way it's curved as to which way they will fit in. Okay. No, that's the right eyepiece. Apologies. This is the left. There we go. So again, you can tell that piece is going inwards and the eye just fits and sits nicely. We then need our eye plate, which would be this one. That piece on the left. Oh, it's even got a L written on the inside. That makes it nice and easy. And then it's a case of getting this line up. How it sits is a very good question. Okay. There we go. Don't know how well it was sharp on camera, but there's a little groove here and a little indentation there, which that will slide into, and that will help sit it in place. Again, 2 more screws. Bottom one is awkward to get to, just because of the way it's situated. Again, this is all simple and self-explanatory mostly, as long as you're following the instructions. Mustard on head, just because of having other screw ports, is a little more difficult to get to than some of the others, but it's not beyond, or it's not a frustrating sort of difficulty. It's just a, well, that's a little awkward. Exact same on the right side. Two screws. And then the right piece, and again groove and indentation to line everything up nice and easy, and then the screws. See what I mean about the awkwardness. 1, 2. So, just for a second, on the cover here, the eyes are quite brightly lit up, but based on the way the LED sits, there aren't LEDs directly behind the eyes. Instead, we have a single LED at the front with the eyes then blocked out. I am curious as to, once this is all fitted and working, how well the eyes will actually light up. Hopefully it is decent as the pictures are showing. I mean, if it isn't the end of the world, but you then raise the question of what's the point of the LEDs if you're not getting the full possible effect. And there we have, once this final screw is in, would have been nicer if maybe the screwdriver could have been magnetic. I think that would have helped considerably. I'll have to look through my tools and see if I have a small magnetic one. I'm not sure I do. Yeah, and there we have our Mastodon head assembly piece 1 complete. We can now move on to issue 13, which is going to give us part 2 of the head, which is going to be the 2 earpieces. Another screw. Come out. There we go. So we just have the plates, 2 earpieces and our screws. Easy. Make sure we got our screws. Yep, screws. I'll put those in the plastic pot. Put those done. So we need 2 for each ear. Again, the ears are marked as left and right. It's just a case of aligning them up with the screw ports, placing the screw in the correct place and then screwing it in. So who else here follows Power Ranger toy news. Obviously the big news last year was that Hasbro have licensed out the main toy line to Playmates, who look like they are going to be doing toys based on Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin. Under what they have called a reignition. And while I think fans had hoped for a continuation of Lightning Collection, it does seem like these toys will predominantly be aimed at children. The news, while photos weren't allowed, the news out of London Toy Fair was that they did have the figures on display. That there is going to be that they're 5-inch with a high range of articulation. So I'm assuming very similar to Playmates' TMNT toys, which isn't unsurprising, and to be honest, I think is pretty much what I expected, at least. I think anyone who kind of figured that Playmates would be doing kids' toys kind of also assumed. But it does sound like they've got a very wide selection of figures, with obviously the main Rangers, but also a huge host of villains, with things like Goldar, King Sphinx, I think. Supposedly they've got a Scorpina. So that's going to be interesting. I haven't decided if I'm going in on the toy line when it hits or not. Not because I'm not interested, but solely because I put a lot of time into the Lightning Collection. I prefer 6-inch scale figures. I don't really collect 5-inch, but depending on what they look like and how they are, I might go in. I think my son's probably reached an age where he probably won't be that interested in the figures. I think he'll, he quite liked, at the end of the Lightning Collection toy line, he was very interested in those, and I think he likes the higher end collectibles now, and sort of the typical kids' toys have gone by the wayside, which is a shame, but I guess that's a part of growing up. I know, going back to Playmates, that they also had Zords on display. Besides the fact that the Zords will be sold individually and combined, there was no other news on the Zords, so it'd be interesting to see what that's like. I'm assuming if they're going to go one of two ways, either the Zords will be larger in scale and will hit a 20 quid sort of price point. Well, I suspect it'll probably be about 25 nowadays. But that sort of price point, perhaps with a play feature and maybe one of them having lights and sound, and then combining into a large Megazord, much like their Voltron line. Or alternatively, the figures, the Zords will be slightly smaller in scale, but perhaps come with a exclusive figure, much like their TMNT stuff. I have a feeling it's going to be a larger scale Megazord. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I was always of the opinion that the Zord builder line that Bandai did was really good. It was really good value for money. It had a lot of play features for the kids, and while it wasn't suitable for collectors, it was, and they were a nice size. So I had kind of hoped that maybe we would have seen that, but that seems unlikely. I think it's more likely a Voltron style larger Zord, which I'm sure will appease some people. But so going back to this, these are the earpieces. They all will just clip in by the looks of things and are numbered. So it is just a case of following the instructions. So we want L1, which is this one. There are 3 clips, 3 holes, and it should just clip into place, which it does nicely. On the one, I'll do the same. Instructions follow the left side and then the right side, but this is so simplistic here that anyone should be able to do it without any issues whatsoever. So your left 1, 2, 3 and right 1, 2, 3. Very simple, very nice and easy clips. They feel sturdy. I'm sure you could, oh yeah, you can force them out quite easily, which is a little disappointing. I'd hoped it'd be a one-time fit, but I suppose being able to push them out, but they're not going to fall out in any way whatsoever. And that's our head done for part 13. Next we have part 14, which looks like it will be maybe the snout. Quite a number of pieces here. It looks like it will all just be clipped together. There's very few screws, 2 screws in fact, 2 screws and then 3 metal rods. Yeah, I think this is going to be the trunk. Kind of hoping the trunk will have some articulation to it. That's something that's certainly been missing from the other Megazords. Is, you know, this one's going to get crushed a little. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, one thing I think has always been missing from the other Zords is maybe some of their play features type things. So articulated trunk with the Triceratops, the horns and the chains. I don't expect that this will have firing horns or chains on the horns. I certainly don't think that at all. But that's potentially an interesting play feature for playmates to have. So yeah, this is the trunk. Trunk joint 1, 2, 3, 4. Armour plates left 4. Right 1 to 4. Top of the armour plate, front of the trunk, and joint axles. So this is all just a clip assembly. And we need the metal pipes, which will help keep the stability of the joints by the looks of things. So initially we start with this piece. This piece that slides in, and then we got a metal pipe to keep it in place and keep the stability. Just got to make sure everything's lined up nicely. Just getting that all situated. There we go. So that's a little annoying. side is slightly stiffer than the other. That appears to be because the hole is fractionally smaller there. It's pushing out the plastic, which is fine. It will keep it nice and tight. It's just making alignment awkward. There we go. You start pushing it through. There we go. Nice tight fit. You're going to want to make sure you're definitely doing this 100% correct, because I don't think you can undo it thereafter. Over fit. It's fitting a little bit easier. So it looks like we've got a fully articulated trunk, which is really nice. See, the holes are incredibly tight. That situated and pushed through. There we go. Well, there's our trunk nice and situated, and it's just putting this together. So these are literally just push fits. They are fitting really nicely, easy to do. That's one side. And the same on the other side. Not sure if I've just put one of the pieces upside down. I'm saying it's easy to do, and I messed up. I'll be back. So yeah, make sure they are fitting around the right way. There we go. Once they are fitted, they aren't designed to come undone, so be careful. This piece will clip onto the top. So not too sure about the top piece, it's just clipping on. Hopefully once this piece is in, it will hold. No. It just tells you to clip it on, but it slides off without any issue at all. I'll have to get some glue to that and hold that piece in place. So bear that in mind, that you're probably going to want some glue there just to keep that clipped in to place. Then we're taking a screw and literally just screwing this into place. So this will go, it'll only fit one way, which is fine. This thing is looking really good. And another little awkward screw point, nothing to worry about. So I've got a profile here on Billy. Mentions that he appears in seasons 1 to 3, Alien Rangers and Zeo. That he appears, first appearance Day at Dumpster, last appearance is Rangers of Two Worlds. What is interesting, at least to me, is that that doesn't mention Cosmic Fury or Once and Always. So I'm left wondering, I know these are all, this was originally released in France a few years ago, I think before Cosmic, and there we go, before Cosmic and Once and Always. So Perhaps this is literally just the translated version, I don't know. But yeah, that seemed mildly interesting to me. Next is going to be some circuitry. Including this such small bit does seem like a way to extend the build issues rather than including it, but yeah. But I suppose it's to be expected, so they can divvy out the costs in other places. I mean, I'm waiting with the Dalek one for the issues where it's just literally one bronze orb. There we go. Right. Okay. Simple assembly. Let's make sure it's up the right way. So curved piece is at the bottom. And that's our circuit board. Nice and carefully. You obviously don't want to break any of the circuitry. Started to go. See if I can finish this piece, but yeah. Okay, I can't. And I'm afraid I will have to end this here for now, while I let my hands tremors calm down a bit, but I'll be back to finish this off. And we're back. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see where we were. We were screwing in the circuit board. So now that's in, it goes into the Mastodon head. Between the videos I have glued this piece in place. All I used was the Revol modelling glue, little along the seams and in the middle, just to hold it in place. And this, then we'll go. Okay, so it goes on the right side, and there are two screw ports. This will go over. You want it facing inwards. Because I'm an idiot, I screwed this in upside down. making all these mistakes on camera so that you don't have to. That's a little bit up. One and two. There we go. That seems to be better. Seems like that one of these is a button. How that will work, I don't know yet. Looks like it's going to assemble a little better now. So again, 2 of the screws. Bit is proving to be a little bit awkward, solely because there isn't really a rest for any of this. So you're reliant on it staying in place while the screw goes in. Get one screw and it'll be fine. Yep, one screw's in, and get the other screw partially in, and then we'll tighten them up. Go. That's assembled nicely. Nice and tight fit. And it's only a case of taking our cable, so this is a cable of connecting this in the right way. This should go wire side facing up, and it should in theory just push into the charging or the LED circuit board. That is in as far as it will go, and then this wire then connects to this board here, and again circuit side up. Definitely circuit side up. That's as far as it will go in. There we have wire situated and ready. The head's coming along nicely. This is going to be a big piece. Yeah, this is certainly not going to be a small model by any stretch of the imagination. Moving on to part 16, which will now start the assembly of the Mastodon neck. Presumably this will create our back plate, which will then hold, which will connect to the body eventually. So here we will have left and right side of the neck joints, connection to the Mastodon head, and that does look like it'll also be the handle in Megazord mode. Further connection point, rubber gaskets, shock absorbers, and screws which are tucked away. Three screws. So take the head assembly bit, the rubber gaskets, the head assembly, and the left side. And all we're going to do is fit the rubber gasket into the hole and then insert that. So it says to put that into the hole first, but I think it might be easier putting it onto the neck piece and then trying to get this in, because it is going to be a very tight and secure fit. Maybe not. Let's have a try this way. That's very tight and snug fit. It's as much as I thought it might be easier the other way. It is definitely easier to fit it into the hole and then connect that. We then want the head axle. Need to make sure it's up the right way, so the tab locking point will be facing down. It will fit into this hole here. I'll just clip that up, and that doesn't want to stay in at the moment. We will then be looking at doing the right side. So again, it is marked with an R on the inside. Take the rubber gasket. Gasket will fit into the corresponding hole. That one's actually fits in a lot easier. And then that should all just line up and seal together, which it does. There we go. It's a nice solid clip. Then there will be two screws to screw into place. One will go up in the top corner here, and one right down at the bottom there, which can be awkward. So take our screws, let that drop down the screw slot, and screw that into place. One, and then make sure that's okay, which it looks like, and two. Then just making sure this is all lined. There we go. Make sure it's all nice and tightly sealed. There we have our neck assembly. Next is to take off the shock absorbers. This will be connecting onto here, but we have a left and right one. That is the right. I don't know if it actually shows up on the camera, but these are marked, which is helpful. And you can still see if it's a left or right side in here. So left to left. Initially we take the shock absorber, and that should just push in, which it does. And then connect. Then we are repeating the process. And there we have our neck assembly. Doesn't show us to connect it at the moment. Not sure how that will connect. Yeah, we're going to need some back plates, but presumably that will go I don't know. Yes, I'm not sure how that's going to connect just yet. So that'll go to one side until later on. Then finally we can move up and do the final parts of the Masters on Head that we have at the moment, which is part 16, which is the tusks. And we have our tusks, which look like are going to be simple clip togethers, and hopeful assembly. So, yep. L2, L1. So again, left to left, right to right. They are pushed in nicely. And family. Again, these are just a chromed ABS plastic. This feels like it should have been definitely metal. It's disappointment that they are not. Again, I don't know if it's a weight issue or not. Then we take so here we do need some more glue. With the help of a toothpick, apply a little bit of glue into the 2 pins of one of the tusk tips, which is this piece here. Then insert the pins into the end of the assembled tusk. There it is. Okay. That. Okay, so there's a hole there which will line up with the peg. Just push them in. Presumably it should then hold. This really doesn't want to. I wonder. Put a little bit more glue on the tips. Put a bit of glue on the tips. Going to put a little bit there and a little bit on here, and hopefully that will hold it in place. There we go. I'm just going to hold this in place and try and let the glue set a bit. If not, I might have to get some super glue to try and hold these ones in place. Hopefully it shouldn't come to that. This should just be a nice simple use of the ABS super glue plan. And there we have one of our tusks. Second one, much like the first. this final piece to stick in. It's almost as if the hole is a little too small. Of course, everything else fits very, very nicely. I don't want to get anything to pry this apart because being chrome, it will easily chip. Do I have anything a little bit thicker? Put it into work. Okay, I'm going to go away and fix that off camera. But yes, once that's assembled, this piece will glue here, much like the first. There is a power button which would keep safe for its later assembly stage, which is annoying. But that is it. We don't even connect these at this point. Presumably because there's no back piece to hold them into place, but it looks like they're just going to slide up there. I do get frustrated when we're given excess parts we're supposed to hold on to for God knows how many issues. Why this tiny little piece couldn't be included with the issue it's needed for, I don't know, but that is what it is. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I plan to be back with more of this build when it ever decides to turn up. One other thing I was going to quickly do with this one is I have the Zap Megazord Mastodon head. So you can see here a size comparison. You can see that there is a significant difference in its sizing. You can see that with this one there was no articulation in the trunk, you could just turn it round, whereas this one will give us a full range of articulation. Which I like. I really like having the articulation on the Zord head there. We're going to have that, obviously, the LED, hopefully in the eyes there. But yes, this is definitely coming together very, very nicely. I am looking forward to getting more of this and having this complete over the next course of the year or so. Touch wood. I really hope there's no more delays with Fanhome, that they've gotten themselves in gear, and that we can expect more of these issues on time. But again, thank you for watching it, and I'll be back.